Hey guys, welcome back to a new video in this channel. Today we have a special occasion. Today we're gonna be reviewing some of your works. You guys have submitted some of the works and we're gonna take some time to review, and I'm gonna give you my opinion, my feedback on what things you can improve on or what things you should focus on moving on forward with this particular projects. So yeah, let's go. There we go, clean stream. So we had some very cool submissions. We had this time around we have 5 submissions from Farhan Warsi, Emilio Polcaro, Meet Rathhoth, Praveen Prataphan, and Yash Gupta. Hopefully, I'm not butchering your guys' names and I'm pronouncing them as closely as possible. And as we've mentioned, we are going to be seeing or we're going to be reviewing them based on submission dates. So in this case, Praveen was the first one that submitted. I remember his work he submitted very early on October 11th. Then we're going to go with Emilio. We're probably going to cover Praveen and Emilio today. And then tomorrow we're going to take a look at Josh, Amit, and Farhan. So if you didn't make it in this video, don't worry. We'll see you tomorrow. Now, for those of you that missed the time, it's totally fine. The link is no longer shared, so you won't be able to submit anymore. However, we will be doing this frequently, so make sure to stay tuned on the channel. And if you want your portfolio to be reviewed, just wait for the link to be available. I'll drop a new folder for you guys. You can drop new stuff, and I'll be happy to review it. So, Praveen, you have 2 works right here. So I'm gonna see very quickly both of them, and then I don't think we're gonna be able to see both of them. So I'm gonna choose the one that I think will get you the most, or from which you will get the most out of your portfolio. So we have this Terminator with some mature content because we have a lot of gore. So this looks good, man. I mean, depending on your level, just by seeing this, I would guess that your level is a beginner to intermediate student. Like, you know your way around the 3D software. You probably know your way around ZBrush because this looks sculpted. You know about UVs. You know about XGen, it seems, because you were able to do this very nice hair. You know about lighting as well because you light this whole scene. But there's a couple of things that we need to focus on here. So there's, I would say, 3 main things I will encourage you to improve upon this piece. First of all, the leather jacket. I mean, this is immediately what that got me like, oh, okay, we need to work on this. And if we take a look at leather jackets, remember, reference is always going to be our best option, right? It's going to be our best helper. So if you take a look at leather jackets, the first thing I notice is that it's not just a flap, right? It's not just a little flap. Even if you grab something like this, like the Thriller jacket, it's not just a flap. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of seams. There's a lot of buttons. There's a lot of like details, like the zipper, like this things on top here. We will, of course, have to check the Terminator jacket, because that's the one that we're referencing, right? So every time, anytime you're doing a fan art or something that comes from movies, you need to be very, very mindful of the amount of detail that people are expecting to see in your work. That's why I usually don't recommend doing fan arts, because you're going to be competing against the best, right? So people already have an idea of how things should look, and if yours does not match or exceeds that expectation, then there's probably going to be some criticism about it. So as you can see here, the jacket has a little bit of an edge here. It's thick, which we don't have right here because this seems like there's just like a flat surface. The texture is not bad. It's not great either, but it's not bad. It does look like leather texture. It has the noise, it has the roughness. But yeah, like just missing this like very important details right here. Those would be a very that would be a thing that I would strongly suggest you fix. Now, if you don't have time to fix it and you want to submit this as a piece of portfolio, then I would actually remove the jacket and the shirt and just keep it sort of like a bust, right? Like a naked bust from the neck all the way to the top. I think that might help the overall piece. However, there's still a couple of things that I would like to point out. And again, remember guys, the reason I'm pointing this out and the reason why I'm giving some feedback to you is not because I want to just like tear your work apart or anything. I want to show you things that will make you a better artist. So again, making sure that you understand all of the details of the jacket and sculpting or modeling those details will be a great plus. Anatomy is another one. This is not a bad face. I can show you some of my early works. Some of you have already seen some of my early works, and everyone starts not knowing, or we all begin with zero knowledge about anatomy, and we learn that through practice and through our work. So there's a couple of things here in the anatomy that could get a little bit better, like the nasolabial fold, which goes from the nose all the way down. I know that these lips are not sculpted in, like you did not sculpt the inside of the mouth, it's just like a line, which is fine, but I would probably make it deeper, fill the lips a little bit more, like just in general, build the anatomy, like the bone structure and the muscles a little bit more in your sculpture and your high poly, so that when you do the bakes, which I believe you did here because I see some normal map information, will look a little bit better. Now, I'm also curious because in some areas it kind of looks like the normal map might be flipped, so you might want to just check that out. However, this metallic eye, super cool, man. Like that's great. That metallic eye looks really, really, really good. Even this eye right here looks really good. However, the issue that I have with this eye right here, if you look at a human face, let's see if we get this. Yeah, there we go. You can see the amount of eye, or the amount of white that we see on a face. It's really not that much. Like you usually think about eyes with all of this white on top of them, but even with like this super intense expression, the color of the eyes, the iris, the pupil, like everything, it's quite big. And here I see a lot of white. So I would probably make the color of the eye, like the iris, a little bit bigger, so that you get something closer to this, and that will make your eye look a little bit more realistic. Also, check out, there's a video that Nalin recorded a couple of years ago, I think. I'm not sure if it was last year or 2 years ago, where he shows how to sculpt an eye. So check back on our YouTube channel, and he gives some very, very nice tips about eye sculpture, which you can add on top of this scene. So that would be my feedback for that piece right there. And let's go to the Cyclops, which I'm gonna spoil this. I've already seen this, guys. So this Cyclops, I don't think this is the strongest piece. I think the Terminator one looks a little bit better, and I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, I think this is C remeasure, and I think this is C remeasure because I see the asymmetry here. C remeasure tends to do this. Well, it'll find different details, and it will C remesh in an asymmetrical way, which is not bad. It can totally work for like a production pipeline, but it's gonna be a little bit tricky. Congratulations on the hair. It looks really good. It does look like a fur coat. Which is nice, but this thing right here, I'm gonna be a little bit harsh with this because I used to do this a lot, and my teachers back when I was a student were really like, you have to stop doing this. When we do 3D, sometimes we tend to overload our scenes and our renders especially with a lot of stuff, like with like a filter and noise and dirt and grime and fire and sparks and smoke and this and that, god rays, fog. Like we do a lot of things to add up top of the scene, but those things are not really talking about the piece. They're talking about the composition. And unless you want to be a post-production artist, then you shouldn't be focusing on that one. And I'm gonna show you one. I'm gonna show you one example. Here, let me see if I have it. Oh, maybe I don't have it at hand. Well, I'll show you guys some of my early renders, just so you see that I did the exact same thing. So where are they? Here, ZBrush. So I think I shared this dragon one with you guys earlier, or like this guy, right? Oh, that's not that one. Is this that one? No. Oh, anyway, I'll show you it later, but we tend, as artists, we tend to overload our scenes. So I would definitely go against, or I would encourage you not to add as much effects of this, because they distract. Like, you have a very nice hair. I saw it here in the wireframe. Like, this is a very nice hair. You could groom it a little bit better to have some more breakups, maybe a little bit of color variation, maybe a little bit of height variation as well. But it is a good hair. So by adding all of this stuff, it kind of gets away from that element. This one looks a lot better. Like, I would go for something like this, just like a basic 3-point light setup with the whole thing, and that would be it. Another little piece of advice for you, my friend, is the glossiness. It's a little bit too much. In this case, it looks like he was dripped in oil, and if he's close to fire, he's just gonna burn. So I would definitely play with the roughness, because it's way too shiny. And you've already seen our SSS videos, right? So surface scattering. So adding a little bit of surface scattering here and there might be a good idea. I did a Cyclops, not a Cyclops per se, but I did a Cyclops head a couple of years ago, and I did this as a sort of like anatomy exercise. So this is what you kind of want to have underneath your thing, right? So that's one of the things that I see it's missing here, like the bone structure and like the forms, like the primary and secondary forms, which if you've taken any of our ZBrush courses know are very important, are kind of missing here. So just go back to the drawing board. This does not mean this is a bad work. I would definitely polish this one a little bit more, polish the textures a little bit more as well, especially for instance the teeth right here. They look very like gold. It's just like a gold shader. So I would definitely go for something like Let me show you. If you take a look at an old teeth, you're gonna see that old teeth have this sort of like gradient where they go from this sort of like very yellowish to like a beige color. You can go like even crazier like this with more textures and stuff. So definitely remember, this is again something that you need to take into consideration when building a portfolio. Don't ever show any work that's not your best. So if you know you can improve this one, improve it and then submit it for your portfolio. For this, perfect, because I'm gonna give you feedback and it's gonna help you, of course. But for your portfolio, the thing that you want people to see on your profile, you definitely want to have your best. Now, just quick parenthesis. That does not mean that if you submitted something when you were just beginning as an artist, you should take it down. For instance, I made this little character. What was it? 4 years ago. And now I see it, and there's a lot of things I'm not proud of. But back then, I thought it was a good one. I thought it was a good project, and I thought it showed my like real-time rendering techniques because this was really really light. Like the amount of textures that we were allowed to use were really really small. You can see the topology right here is super super low poly. So I thought I was able to do something cool here. Anyway. Let's go back to this guy right here, and let's go now. Well, first of all, Praveen, thank you very much for submitting. Hopefully this small feedback has been good for you, and you're free to submit these same pieces or new pieces in the next student submission, and I will be happy to see your progress as well. You're in a very good path, my friend. I think you're in a very good path. You have a lot of potential. Don't waste that potential. Make sure you do your job every day, your work every day, so that you keep improving, because that's one of the most important things. Okay, so just keep improving. I would say if you want to talk about like employment things, I would say you're almost there to be like a completely or full employable artist. I think you still need a couple of extra things, and after that you can very easily get a job in the 3D industry if you don't have one already. If you have one, then that's amazing. Just keep on pushing, because you are going to be able to achieve great things as long as you keep on pushing. So let's go now with Emilio Polcaro. I'm not sure. Emilio is a very it's a Spanish name. I don't know. It's common here in Mexico, so that's why I say Emilio. I'm not sure if it's pronounced any other way. But Emilio submitted this Kawasaki Kai 61. And let me tell you, Emilio, this is a fantastic job. I applaud your topology work. It's beautiful. I was looking at it the other day when you submitted it, and it's just great, man. It's just great. It's definitely dense. I'm not gonna lie. It's definitely dense. I think there are a couple of areas where we could just optimize the topology a little bit better. Like there's a couple like this wheel right here that's way too much geometry. This piece right here is also a lot of geometry, so just be careful with that. If this is going to be for a cinematic a shot or for a movie or something, you're probably not going to have any issues. But especially if you're doing like indie projects or projects where there's not a lot of budget and people are working with computers that are not as powerful, then loading this into Maya and rendering this will definitely add into the render and performance times. However, if that's not a limitation, if you have like all the CPU power in the world, then my friend, this is a great topology. For everyone else looking at this, guys, is what you need to achieve whenever you're modeling vehicles. I always say that modeling a vehicle is like one of the bigger challenges for the 3D artist or 3D modeler. If you want to challenge yourself and see if you really understand topology, trying to model any kind of vehicle, a plane, a motorcycle, a car, it's always a great test. So this, my friend, it's great. The only thing that I'm gonna give you feedback on, and it's gonna be a little bit of let's say a friendly banter, right? You have a great model. Why don't you have great renders as well? Like, I know you know 3D because you gave me this or you submitted this, but this is not a good render. If you have a great model, the least you can do is utilize that model to get as many beautiful shots as possible. So you already know about the clay render, and if you don't, make sure you check again our videos, because I did this a couple of weeks ago in our channel where I show you how to do a very basic clay render. This is like the minimum I would expect from any 3D artist submitting a portfolio piece. If you don't know how to texture, if you don't know how to shade because that's not your specialty and you just want to be a great modeler, do a clay render. Just do a clay render. Like if we do clay render vehicle, you're gonna see this sort of thing. Like this is 10 times better than this. I'm not saying this is bad, it's just this is way more presentable. A very soft light coming from the top, a very nice rain light coming from the back. Like this is the kind of thing you want to present. Some people like to add like a little bit of a different shade to the elements. And to be honest, it's not a big step to go from something like this to this. Like, you can use some very basic shaders inside of Maya, just throw in an HDR, and you're gonna be really, really good. Again, I'm not gonna show you my portfolio. I'm tired of showing you my portfolio because it kind of seems like I'm showing off, and I don't want to do that. So just look online, see how you can improve this render, because this is a beautiful model. Like, I would love to texture this model for like a cinematic asset. Throw like 50 UDIMs at 2K resolution or 4K resolution. I don't care. Like, just texture the living mother, you know what, out of this guy and create an amazing, amazing element. Like, if you can take this guy, texture it using the UDIM process with a lot of textures, like, again, like, let's say 24K texture, so that's 80K texture resolution for the whole thing. If you can do that and give me a great render like this one's, well, not me, the world, of course, like, submit that to your portfolio in ArtStation, believe me, my friend, you're gonna be going all the way to the front page in the vehicle section, because this is a great model. It just needs great textures. Okay, so there we go. I'm just gonna go real quick, a little bit of a spoiler here, because I wanna really work on this one tomorrow. So Farhan submitted this guy right here, this Scout Crab, which, again, Farhan, great job. This is a great render. It's a very cartoony. It reminds me a lot of a Ratchet and Clank kind of thing. It's like it gives me that sort of vibe. So tomorrow, Farhan was very kind to actually submit the scene file. So we're gonna be opening these scene files, and we're gonna see how the topology is looking, and I'm gonna give you one quick tip to improve the little alien up here, because everything else seems to be doing a great job. We're also gonna be taking a look at who else are we missing? Meat, and we're gonna take a look at Yash from India as well, Yash Gupta. So that's it for today, guys. This was a great I think a great feedback for you guys. Hopefully it's been useful for everyone else. Let us know in the comments what you think. Is there any suggestions you might have? Just a quick note about suggestions and feedback. One of the things that our teachers told us, and I think it's very important, thanks for holding all the way till the end of this video for this message. I should have added it in the beginning, to be honest, but I'm just gonna mention it right here. I'll mention it on the next one as well at the beginning, so that everyone knows. Don't take this personal. Like, whenever you receive feedback, people will be criticizing your work, and for us as artists, it feels like they're criticizing us, the artists, but no, they're criticizing the work. So you might update or upload something into ArtStation or like here into YouTube, and people are gonna see it. Some people are gonna say, ha ha ha, you suck, ha ha, this is horrible, how would you never gonna get a job in the industry? Don't listen to the trolls, don't feed the trolls, you know the deal, just let them be. And listen to all the feedback that you get. Now, not all the feedback that you get is gonna be good. Some of the feedback that I might be giving you might not be good for specific projects. It's just my opinion. It's just what I think might work. But at the end of the day, you are gonna have to develop that sort of like critical mind to understand what parts of the feedback that you're receiving are good and which ones are bad. The easiest way that I've encountered throughout my career to separate between good and bad advice is, if the advice follows proper like art fundamentals, proper 3D fundamentals, proper techniques and proper ways and workflows on how to do things, then you definitely need to listen. So if someone says your topology is bad, your light is bad, your anatomy needs work, like, those are things that you need to listen to and work around. If they say, I would like a warmer tone or a cooler tone, or I would do this proportion, I would do more muscles or less muscles, those are what I called opinions. Like, yeah, but if you wanted to do a zombie and you didn't want to do like a buffed zombie, then even if someone says, I would have added more muscle, well, thank you for their feedback, but that's not what I was going for. And it's not a critique to the main things like topology, anatomy, sculpture, form, all the kind of things. So you're gonna encounter those types of feedback. So always listen, always be polite, of course, but don't get caught up with that, because you're never gonna be able to please everyone. So just go with what you think. Listen to the strong, I call this the strong feedback, and listen just to the like detailed feedback in another day. Okay. So thank you guys again. Thank you. This series wouldn't be possible without your submissions. So thank you for this. Hopefully you guys like this first video. Tomorrow we're gonna have another one. I'm actually gonna be out of town when this guy is aired, when the video is aired. So I will be checking the comments, of course, but I won't be able to upload a fresh video. So I'm gonna be recording the next one right after this one. You'll see this tomorrow. And until then, I'll see you next time. Bye bye, guys.